What it is, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I was tuned into Candace Owens, actually, listening to her show, which just ended. Hopefully we can attract 1/100th of her audience. That would be good enough for me. Oh, geez. Riding the coattails of Candace Owens. Well, we have another story about that today because it's the only thing that's good for the algorithm these days. And we have other news too, but I was just listening to her. It is major news as far as that goes, since the Charlie Kirk assassination was a big deal. And Candace Owens is a big deal. TPUSA is a big deal. I have to update the title, actually. Sigh. I guess I'll have to do it after the stream is over, or maybe I could do it on YouTube. Candace Owens has accepted their challenge as of, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. So I have to change it. It wasn't just that TPUSA challenged her, but that she has accepted there's going to be a showdown, a face-off between the biggest conspiracy theorist ever on the internet at this time, bigger than me. I know about conspiracy theories. I know about attracting audiences with conspiracy theories. I've never done true crime before, or murder investigations before exactly, but I understand what's happening here a little bit, and I want to keep an open mind. She may bring the receipts one of these days. She may bring the receipts, but the knives are out for Candace Owens. If you don't know what I'm talking about, everybody's attacking her. There's a live stream. There was just a live stream on X from somebody attacking her. Tim Pool is after her. TPUSA is after her. We'll see if Pierre DuPont will come after her. The Macrons are suing her and maybe trying to kill her, supposedly, although nobody in the government believes it yet, and she hasn't shown the receipts yet. But that is the big story, the big investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination, which is unsolved as of right now, theoretically. And she said on our last show that TPUSA has some of the blame. So they came firing back. They broke their silence. I'll cover this news with you guys. I would take phone calls, but I'll at least look at the chat. Don't know if we're going to attract any Candace Owens viewers, but I'm curious what people have to say. People are worried for her life. I was just reading the comments under her latest video. Candace, don't go. They're going to kill you. It's gotten to that point. We're all meant to be literally scared to death at all times that somebody is going to kill us, all of us, if we're influencers. Hey, Speedy Speed, you're from Finland? That's crazy. Wonderful. Thank you. International viewers are fantastic. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so I'll cover that news today. I'll open with it for people who tune in for what's in the title. As usual, we talk about other news on this show too. We talk about finance. We talk about the economy. There's economic news out today about jobs. We're losing jobs right now, and it's going to be an ongoing thing. And the ongoing thing about losing jobs involves the machines, the rise of the machines. They're talking about making another Terminator movie because Terminator is real now. James Cameron, that is. And he only likes doing things in 3D, I think, now. He did Avatar, right? So it'll be 3D, I'm sure. So we're maybe going to get a new Terminator movie. And maybe it won't be junk like the last ones. We are in the age of Skynet. Elon Musk announced his new robot today. It's supposed to be spectacular. So I'll show you that. It looks like this one can give you a hand job comfortably. That's the best thing about it, apparently. So I'll show you its beautiful fingers and hands. We have the stock. We're going to continue to talk about the bubble, the AI bubble, if it is such, the bubble, the bubble on top of the bubble, and all the bubbles inside the bubble, and whether they'll ever pop, because people are convinced that they never will at this time. That's what I'm reading on the internet. I am a doomer Austrian-style economist, which means that eventually debt bubbles deflate, but people seem to have pushed past that and believe that everything will go up forever. So I'll show you some of that news. We have news about how future children, which we don't have anymore enough of, white people, how we're going to make it. The kids, the future ones, are going to make it. It's because we're going to invest in stocks, basically. Actually, we're going to be forced to invest our money in stocks in a way, if we choose to use these savings accounts. So Natural Immunity says AI is definitely a big bubble. Well, the first casualty may be here for AI, and that's ChatGPT. People are starting to hate on ChatGPT because they just released ads like today or something. People are seeing ads and they're ready to quit. And I mentioned, you guys, I use the machines. I use the Gemini machine and I don't pay for it. And I've shown its failures. I've shown its non-failures. I communicate with it a lot. We have a video posted today of the AI helping the video AI assistant. So I'll show you that. Show you the robot. Talk about OpenAI. Talk about the economy. We will continue to investigate what's going on in Venezuela. That fallout has not fallen out yet. Rand Paul in particular is the main truth teller in that arena, who's done a lot of interviews now about the illegal boat strikes in Venezuela. And we may at any time be start dropping bombs, like for real, over land, like Donald Trump says he's willing to do. And we may assassinate Nicolas Maduro. We're, still talking about regime change. Marco Rubio in particular is all for it. So we're going to talk about the response to that and what the continuing fallout is from that. We'll play you a few clips from Rand Paul about what he thinks about it. I've told you what I think about it. People say it's because I hate Trump. Oh, not everybody says that, but some people say I'm an incredibly biased person, and that is driven by my hatred for Donald Trump. Actually, Trump is cool. I voted for him. So I voted for him enthusiastically. We had the election that happened last night. We can talk about the fallout from that or the implications of that in Tennessee. We were covering that at the end of the show yesterday. The Republican won, by the way. And what else do we have on the menu? I have, we're going to talk a little bit about healthcare. The Republican fix for healthcare, because we're curious about that. The healthcare fight is going on. It seems like there's lots of news that people can't afford it anymore. And they'll probably, as of right now, based on the way things are looking, we're going to have another government shutdown at the end of January, going into February, because Republicans and Democrats are very far apart about how they want to solve the healthcare issue at this time. So we're looking forward to another government shutdown that could last, I don't know, forever, I guess. So that's the news from America. We're happy we're talking to the whole world. And we'll cover the Candace Owens news first. Okay, we'll take your comments and so forth as long as you're here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll play our intro and get started. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Oh, I should say, if you want to support the show, we have expenses related to AI and stuff and software. If you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. We're entirely independent, no ads. Candace runs a lot of them. No ads, our own store. And we take tips, and apparently there's no tax on tips. So you can give them freely, feeling that YouTube isn't taxing you and the government isn't taxing me. Buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. It's running across the bottom of the screen, the whole show. If you drop me a coffee or more there and leave a comment, I'll read it before the end of the show. If you say jump, I'll say how high, etc. Or visit our store where we've been having a closeout sale, going out of business sale, truthclothing.io. I'll show you some t-shirts. Truthclothing.io, that's our own store, which we opened, where we order the shirts, get them screen printed by Americans so they last. They're actually in stock. They're not drop shipped. They're not digitally printed. They're real. They're very high quality. Now, right now, they're very inexpensive considering what they're saying about prices having gone up. Our prices have gone down a lot. They're $5 and $10 shirts. $5 and $10 shirts, including our most successful designs, like the Question Everything shirt, which I think are mostly sold out now. We have Bitcoin shirts. We have these shirts that are made in America, these Freedom of Faith shirts. Made in America, American cotton. You can actually track it with a QR code. We have some women's stuff. Check those out. That's very nice. That say lift the veil or say question everything. We have those. So stock up. We sent out an email recently. A bunch of people bought some stuff. Everybody buys multiples. People buy their sizes. Stuff selling out. So keep buying. It does support the show. 100%. So I appreciate it. Truthclothing.io. And then I promised you an intro, a classic intro. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Thanks, Caesarides. I'll still be playing that intro when I'm 70, probably. People will be very confused. That's from 10 years ago, I believe, but people can't get enough of it. So we keep with it. Thanks, C. Zarides, who says intro is fire. All right. Let's get to the news. I'll show you some clips. In case you've been dead for the last 3 months, I guess, and you just recently came back to life and tuned into this channel, which you didn't remember you were subscribed to, and you wondered where the hell the Lift the Veil went. In case that's you, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on stage live in Utah 3 months ago, apparently. So it's already been 3 months. Time does move faster the older you get. So it has been 3 months. The feds gave us a bunch of evidence that it was a trans furry lover, someone with a trans boyfriend / they, also into furry porn or something, who sent text messages and Discord messages confessing to the crime, whose gun was found with his DNA on it, I believe. And they might have even gotten DNA from the roof, they say. But that's the evidence they gave us. He was motivated basically by his love of trans and the fact that he thought Charlie Kirk was hateful, allegedly. Very soon after the crime, like with many big deal news stories, there were many conspiracy theories immediately. Even though we allegedly have evidence of the guy confessing, we have some video, which in some ways is questionable. They have some evidence, supposedly, which in some ways is questionable. There's this whole reassembling the gun, disassembling the gun, jumping off the roof video with no gun, etc. People saying he couldn't have been shot by the bullet, they said, because his head should have popped off. There should have been an exit wound, 30-06, etc. Magical spine, etc. The very first parts, the conspiracy theories have mostly come through Candace Owens and some other people, like Ian, what's his name, and others. Mostly people who are like Israel critical. Israel was the first one who got blamed, including Netanyahu. Very valuable things were revealed, like that Charlie Kirk was indeed changed to TPUSA was a Christian Zionist organization. It seemed to be designed to corral young people, I think particularly young men, but young people, to support Israel in a Christian Zionist way. Many of the people still involved are Christian Zionists. They are a religious group. They're a nonprofit. People say they got Donald Trump elected. They register Republicans. They're a political organization, 501c4 or what have you. They take money from donors. At first, Israel was blamed, kind of, although no specific accusations have really been made. It's been a widely meandering conspiracy theory. Questions were asked. We just asked questions. What's wrong with asking questions? Well, it's gone a little beyond that now to accusations, and then claiming that the French government has hired assassins to kill Candace Owens. Specific allegations, amount of money, specific assassins, etc., which she says she's reported to the government. I'll show you her latest thing about that. Israel, there was an allegation that Netanyahu offered I want to resolve this one if anybody can help me. Candace Owens gets a lot of tips from people who listen to her show, who she calls like mommy sleuths and daddy sleuths. I think they're mostly mommy sleuths who sent her tips. They helped her figure out that she forgot that there was some phone call to someone she thought was French, Pierre Dupont. That was the latest thing. Pierre Dupont, an American family with a French name, who are very rich. That was the last thing. There were Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes. There's Israel. I said I wanted to resolve something. I don't the Netanyahu accusation, they said Netanyahu called Charlie or somebody and offered like $100 million to have TPUSA be more pro-Israel when TPUSA began to go anti-Israel or Israel skeptical, being driven primarily by the people that follow them, because all the kids listen to Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes makes a lot of sense in between some of the quotes that people take to disparage him. He makes a lot of sense about Israeli control of our government, or sometimes you could say Jewish control of our government. Many young people became Israel skeptical and started bringing it up at TPUSA events, to the point where Charlie Kirk began to become I shouldn't say anti-Israel. I should say Israel skeptical, still kind of pro-Israel, Israel skeptical. But I think the Netanyahu thing, like, I thought I saw that was never confirmed, but people are talking about it now as if it is confirmed, that Netanyahu actually offered money. And then, so the latest thing is that the latest thing from the show yesterday was that Candace Owens claims there was some phone call to a donor immediately after Charlie was killed. She thinks it's Pierre DuPont that involved maybe like $1 billion, and that people at TPUSA were upset that they missed out on the Netanyahu money because they would have made money from it. She basically accused TPUSA of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. I mean, she might just be asking questions, but I think it got a little beyond that recently, where she basically said things like TPUSA betrayed Charlie Kirk, partially based on Charlie Kirk coming to her in a dream, I believe, and partially based on tips she gets in her email from mommy sleuths and so forth. So let me update. I need to update the title to this video. Candace Owens accepts TPUSA challenge. Face off coming soon. We'll say, I don't know if that's the best. Oh, it gives me a virality score. Oh, that's nice. So let me save that. We'll try to get more people here because we have a relevant title. How do I press save? There it is. All right. So I'll show you some of the video. Misty, you are a strange individual. We appreciate your support for the show. Misty Schaub in the chat, who's typing in all caps. If she gets too annoying, mods, if there are any, you can time her out. She's not a bad person, but she says all caps is frequently disallowed in chats because people feel like you're yelling at them. Okay. So we want to keep it civil here. Thank you, Misty. All right. So anyway, here's the video. This is TPUSA, who some people say is like dying. Like, I think, and Tim Pool, by the way, is involved in this whole thing. He's attacking he's attacking Candace Owens. People are calling her a liar. People are accusing her of lying for money, which I actually don't think she's doing. She happens to be making a lot of money and saying things which she hasn't shown evidence are true, saying a lot of things that she hasn't shown evidence for. But I don't think she's doing it sociopathically, the way some people are claiming, or that she's simply just grifting. I don't believe that. She may be mentally something, for sure. She may be spiraling for sure, for sure. But I'm not going to accuse her of being a sociopath grifting for views by lying. I don't think that's exactly what she's doing, in my opinion. I will say many people are probably a little bit inspired by jealousy because she has the only growing podcast, one of the only growing platforms in what is the conservative right. Most platforms are well down since the election. Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Cat Turd on Twitter, etc. Most of them and their influence is down. And hers is one of the only outliers because she doesn't talk about politics, actually. She talks about conspiracy theories in the form of true crime / murder investigation. C. Zurides says she's the most influential person in America. You really think so? The most influential takes a lot to have influence. She's the most influential person in America. More so than Donald Trump? I don't know. I think there are people more influential than her. Probably Donald Trump's more influential. Kira D says she's pissed off. We are being lied to about her friend's murder. Give her a break. We can't give her a break. Exactly. I mean, I could. I think. I am giving her a break because I'm not accusing her of being a sociopath or a liar. And I'm still concerned for her well-being. I don't think, like her audience thinks, that they're going to kill her when she goes to meet in Phoenix with TPUSA. But that's the top comment in our video. Anyway, enough with the introduction. Oh, look at this. Hold on, I want to show you something. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see. I have effects. I'll maybe play those from time to time. You can see them on my small screen. I'll show them on the big screen at some point. Show you some of the wonders of technology. All right, anyway. Bald guy, no personality. If TPUSA is dead, it's because no one with any talent has replaced Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was incredibly talented. He had an incredible ability to unite people who had differing opinions. He was able to somehow maintain the pro-Israel slant that was necessary and the changing opinion about Israel. He was able to get everybody in the same room in a way almost nobody else could do. And still, everybody liked him. Very likable, talented figure. Again, who everybody liked. Nobody remaining at TPUSA that I've seen has anything near the charisma or ability of Charlie Kirk. So, including his wife, who's very strange. Understatement. So if they're dying, well, they had a unique asset who was identified very young, who unfortunately was assassinated by somebody. This is one of the guys that has no personality at all, it seems like, and he's follicularly challenged, which is okay.
So that Candace can manipulate and string along an audience of people who don't realize they are being played. Instead of being able to grieve properly after one of the most heinous murders in American history, a murder many of us had to witness, my friends have had to endure harassment from people who have gotten whipped up by what Candace is saying. In fact, I would say we have suffered more harassment from these people than we have from Antifa supporters who overtly celebrate Charlie's murder. And just like a lot of those Antifa members, many of these people take this delight in how gross and unpleasant they can be. What our friends have had to endure is not funny, and it's not insignificant. It is evil. I have seen it.
Evil. Yeah, people are saying that. It's evil. It's literally evil. I'm not going to say that. Like, she believes it. I'm not, like, I think she believes everything she says. I don't think she's intentionally being evil. I think she was extremely upset by the death of a friend, and she's spun out, basically. And in the end, maybe she's on to something. But she'll have to show some proof at some point to make that conclusion. GTO 88812 says it's good she's exposing the creepy pastors. Yeah. Creepy pastors at TPUSA. Worth exposing. Curity says Candace comes off as unstable because she's super pissed and ruminates all her theories to 6 million people. If she was at a house party, she'd be a genius. People say she has no friends. That's what people say. People say she's never going to be invited to a house party. She doesn't seem like the type that actually goes out, to be honest, which is fine. She's married with kids. A lot of people don't go out much. If she was at a house party, she'd be a genius. I'd think about that. Maybe. A lot of people, people love her. I got to be careful what I say. But anyway, here's this guy. So he says she's evil. She says they betrayed Charlie Kirk. He says they're evil. These Christian pastors come on to say she's evil. Tim Pool is basically saying that too. You won't hear me say that. I don't believe she's evil.
Months, we have received hundreds, thousands, I suspect, emails and calls asking us to respond. People have wanted us to invite Candace on the show. But for a long time, our approach was to say nothing. We did that for several reasons. First, we thought that her prevarications were so absurd that nobody would believe them. We shouldn't have to answer questions about secret tunnels or Egyptian Air Force planes. That sort of thing is just, it's beneath contempt to respond to. The second reason we've said so little, though, is because there's a good rule of thumb, which Charlie followed. Do not feed the trolls. Focus on the mission, reviving America, uplifting young people, making heaven crowded. Don't give air to people who want to tear you down and sow discord. Lastly, we didn't respond because Charlie always viewed Candace as a friend, and we were holding out hope that she would return that friendship and stop what she was doing. But a week from now, it's going to be 3 months since Charlie's murder. Candace has not changed her behavior. She has continued to spread falsehoods about Charlie's friends, and she continues to concoct new ones about new people. She's using these falsehoods to enrich herself while dividing the conservative movement at an absolutely critical time for this country. And far too often, we here have heard from ordinary people, people who loved Charlie and who Charlie loved so much in return. These people have expressed the worry that we are staying silent out of cowardice or as some sort of tacit admission that some of the attacks are true. Neither is the case. Our silence has never been, and it will never be, equal to complacency or approval. Still, we decided Charlie would not allow this to go on. Charlie was not a coward. Charlie was a fighter. Charlie would not allow someone to spread lies about the people closest to him with impunity. And he would feel ashamed if other people were stepping up to defend his friends while he never did so himself. Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix. At this point, we believe the ball is back in her court. Our motivation for doing this is not out of any obligation to Candace. It is about honoring Charlie. We feel a deep responsibility to protect his legacy, his work, and the truth. I feel that. I owe Charlie everything in my life. I feel it immensely. And that is why we feel compelled to speak clearly and openly now. We'll have more on this in the near future.
There you go. The die has been cast. The gloves are off. It's a challenge to a duel, a battle of wits, to the death. And she has accepted. I'll show you a video of her accepting. There's another video making the rounds today, but it's so boring. This is the headline on the video. TPUSA whistleblower says Candace Owens allegations have serious backing. Internal scandal explodes. A former donor relations officer for TPUSA, 4 years inside, has just confirmed shocking internal behavior. But if I played the video for you, you'd be incredibly underwhelmed, if you're anything like me at least, and some other people I talked to about it. She doesn't say anything specific at all. She just says, oh, I was a fundraiser, or I was involved in the donor program for TPUSA, and they're all jerks, basically. It's all like evil, and you shouldn't donate. She does say that. But that's what you get with like charitable organizations and stuff. Filthy money. You spend all your time raising money, talking to donors. And then you have to be the mouthpiece for what? The Republican Party, no matter what they do. You have to support Israel, no matter what, apparently, although he stopped doing that. I mean, people say he's a shill for Israel. He was for a long time. And he wanted to become, I guess, some kind of like an honorary Jew by following the Sabbath. He believed, I think he wrote a book about it. You know, doing the whole Sabbath thing, taking Saturdays off, no phones, no turning on lights, etc., no transactions, whatever the rules are. So he was into that. He was into the Jewish thing. He'd made his trips to Israel and stuff, but he was changing quickly. So I see the motivation for Israel maybe being upset with him, and Jewish people who are into Israel being upset with him and pulling out their money, which he said they did. But that's not even like what we're on anymore as far as the conspiracy theory goes. The conspiracy theory has turned from being Israel to being like France, Egyptian planes, and TPUSA. I can imagine they are getting death threats. A lot of people worried about death threats and about being killed these days. Megyn Kelly worried about being killed. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly, because she blamed Mark Levin, for trying to get her killed by calling her an anti-Semite. Marjorie Taylor Greene worried about getting killed because of Donald Trump calling her a traitor. Ben Shapiro is probably worried about being killed. He has tons of security, apparently wears bulletproof vests. People are concerned. They don't like the abuse, which I can imagine. They have challenged Candace Owens to a duel, and Candace has accepted it. So I'll show you her accepting it. C. Zurides. Yes, you can call in. Do you want me to open up the phone? I normally don't because I don't have enough people tuned in most of the time. But if you want to call in, you can, or you can join through the machine, like on camera or off camera through the internet. Your preference. Okay. You say, please, thank you. Okay. I will open up the phone after I finish the coverage. You can't stop me while I'm on a roll, friend. Now, let me just show you the coverage. And then you can either call or something else, one or the other. I have to open up my Google phone, though, for you to call. Okay, here's Candace. Share this tab. Here's Candace accepting the challenge.
All right, you guys, it's happening. It's happening. Everybody stay calm. After yesterday's episode where we went kind of for the jugular with Turning Point USA, because really, I think everybody in the entire world has had enough with the non-response, trying to move on, trying to gaslight us, not answering basic details. So we just went for it. And guess what? Turning Point has moved to formally respond to all the things that we have said. And after a very long diatribe in which they wildly misrepresent the public and global investigation of Charlie Kirk's assassination, they at long last issued a public invitation or a challenge. I'm not sure what it is, but I accept. Okay. Quite literally, all we have ever asked for were sensible answers to our basic questions about what transpired on September 10th. And it looks like we're going to get those things. So major, major win. I am excited. Also, later on in the show, what I have for you is The Game, whose rapper is releasing a song that is entitled The Assassination of Candace Owens. And I have more questions. I've got questions. Am I allowed to have questions? Welcome back to Candace.
No, Candace Owens, you are not allowed to have questions. To be honest, I think, like, based on my own censorship back in the day for talking about conspiracy theories, talking about mass shootings, bombings, the bombing of the Brussels airport, calling out like military industrial complex characters who appeared on TV, specifically by name, having those videos struck down. The bombing at the Ariana Grande concert, the San Bernardino shooting, the Las Vegas shooting, having questions used to be somewhat discouraged, majorly discouraged on YouTube. I made a video about the Las Vegas shootings where I took phone calls. And I said, is it okay to ask questions? And the video predictably got a strike, and my channel was briefly deleted during that time. We asked questions about the vaccine here on YouTube. That was not allowed. So can a nigga have questions? No. However, maybe things have changed. I'm not talking about Candace. I'm talking about myself in the third person. White ass nigga, as Nick Fuentes would say. You weren't allowed to have questions. I question whether during the old regime of YouTube, if Candace Owens would have been censored for many of the things that she said, including like calling Mrs. Macron a man. I have a feeling that would have been banned before. So I have a feeling it would have been. So we are living in a time, thanks to Elon Musk mostly, where we have something like free speech. We're allowed to ask questions, even if those questions result in other people falling under the suspicion of crazy people on the internet. And I am not questioning whether crazy people follow Candace Owens and probably say crazy things to TPUSA people or other people she's accused. That is probably 100% true. But can you ask questions? Nowadays, kind of. I'll share a post from Tim Pool here. And I have mixed people in the chat, which is excellent. We are a show that does try to legitimately ask questions and look at things from all sides, and almost always try to take a charitable view of things, I believe, where we try not to call people liars and sociopaths. But here's Tim Pool, one of the jealous influencers, probably. It's probably a little bit motivated by jealousy, I have to say, probably, because his views are down, along with everybody else except for Candace, and maybe Tucker, who everybody also hates, probably out of jealousy too. Tim Pool says, in the sociopath influencer world, there is no amount of money that will, oh, this is a real double negative. There is no amount of money that will never be worth it. Does that make sense? I wonder if I built a sentence. What did they call those? Diagram, if that makes sense. There's no amount of money that will never be worth it. There's no amount of money that will never be worth it. Interesting. That's Candace Owens' world. Publishing texts, out of context posts, and attempting to eviscerate Charlie's legacy seems to be worth every penny to Candace. Well, she is making a lot of money. Most definitely. I heard she's getting a lot of super chats, for one thing. But then she runs a bunch of ads too, which I'm sure they're paying her a lot for. But like I said, I think she's actually, I don't think she's a sociopath. Like, I think she believes everything she says. And she's doing it because she loved Charlie Kirk. That's all I'm going to say. That's my conclusion. And I think, like, people are legitimately feeding her information that she's repeating, including the fact that the French government allegedly hired assassins to kill her. However, I think she may or may not be vetting information to determine whether it's real. And she may be running with things that she gets from her mommy sleuths and daddy sleuths in her email box without really thinking about it much. But I don't know for sure. We want to be as charitable as possible. Okay. Speaking of that, she says she's going to get killed, or there's an assassination plot against her. She reported it to the feds, and this is what the feds said so far, apparently.
The only department that we did hear back, well, first let me say, I did not at all hear back from the FBI on the American side. I did hear back from the counterterrorism unit. I did hear back from the White House confirming that that message had been delivered on Trump's desk, me saying that I had the information. I guess he didn't want to inquire further, which is interesting. But the FBI left me on red. And I will say I didn't go through an official channel and send an email, and I should do that. But I did send a text message to somebody very high up who received the text message. No response. Now, I thought that the claim of the French Foreign Legion being involved in Charlie's assassination, I thought the FBI might be interested. No phone calls even from Utah's FBI branch.
Why would they be interested if you don't give them any evidence? Like, why would they be interested? That's what I'm wondering. Unless you give them evidence, why would they care that you think the French Foreign Legion killed Charlie Kirk and you don't have any evidence? Of, like, why would they spend resources on that? That would be insane. So if they're ignoring you, it's probably because you're telling them you got a phone call from somebody who claimed a bunch of shit. Probably. I mean, I don't know. If there was evidence, then the government would probably take it seriously, I would think. A foreign government wants to kill Candace Owens. Yeah, they probably ignore the Charlie Kirk stuff because apparently they think they have the right guy based on the evidence they've presented, which nobody has proven is fake, even though most people think it's fake. But nobody's proven that it's fake. The text messages, confessing, and so forth, which are the most damning evidence if they're real. why would the American government investigate whether the French Foreign Legion was involved with Charlie Kirk's assassination unless you give them some kind of proof? So I'm thinking she didn't give them any evidence, but who knows?
Have come into me either. Wouldn't you want to see? Aren't we supposed to be investigating the Charlie Kirk assassination? It was totally not a state operation, and they really want to get to the truth, which explains why nobody called. No, Utah, not interested. I'm actually surprised Tyler Robinson's lawyer hasn't reached out to me. What's going on here? Oh, we've got to protect the patsy, right? We've got to protect the patsy in this situation.
She's surprised that Tyler Robertson's family hasn't reached out to her. Well, once again, like nobody has seen that evidence yet. So, and Tyler Robinson, if he's a patsy, then what's the definition of a patsy? Like, does that mean he's going to accept the blame or he's going to fight it? Like patsies usually don't fight it, right? Or I don't know. I don't know exactly what a patsy normally does. Doesn't mean he has to go down for it. I don't know. Phone call incoming. Okay, let me open up my Google phone. What is it called? What is it? Phone.google.com. Google Voice, that's right. Voice.google.com. Voice. Okay, we will sign into that. 650-429-8294. Caesarides. We'll see what you have to say about it. You seem to be a supporter of Candace Owens, which is great. We can talk to you. We have the phone open. The sound is on. I can display the number on the stage. We can get more than one caller if we want. We have the ability to do these things. I'll put the number on the screen. It's 650-GAY-TAXI, in case you're wondering. Oh, there we go. From New York City. Oh, that's okay. Hold on one sec. Allow. Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
I can, Nathan.
Great. And everybody should be able to hear you. If you're in the chat and you can't hear, then let me know. Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to have you back on YouTube, brother.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to be back.
Cool. So a couple of things now. I want to start off with this Charlie Kirk thing. The 30-06 bullet, right?
Yeah.
We all know that's bullshit, right?
Well, I don't know because I don't know from any personal experience because I've never shot a 30-06 or gone hunting with a 30-06. But based on what everybody says who knows, apparently, then yes, it sounds, what should I say? It sounds impossible because everybody says it should have blown out his spine, that there's no such thing as a magical spine that can stop a 30-06 bullet. So I believe those people who say that, although I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. They say they found this guy.
Well, those people are uncontested. So those YouTubers with, lots of subscribers that are ballistics experts,
yeah,
they made their claim saying, and nobody contested it. Nobody. So
right.
99.999%, it's bullshit to start with.
The bullet. And what did Candace say about
bullet.
it? Candace at one point said the bullet was retrieved at first.
Yeah.
And she said it wasn't a 30-06, but she didn't present she didn't say what it was or anything. So if it wasn't a 30-06, what do you think it was?
Well, the FBI says it's a 30-06.
I know.
So the FBI is lying.
What do you think? I mean,
I don't know, but it's not a 30-06. I have guns, but I'm not a ballistics expert. But again, right. The ones that have not been contested by anybody. And if you were the head of the FBI, the first thing you would do is get in front of the camera and address that, especially being that was such a hot topic the week it came out. And that's probably the primary reason why this is still an ongoing discussion. And this is why Candace Owens is on top of this constantly. I don't blame her. Okay. This is clearly a cover up. That Burger King where there was footage of Tyler Robinson, like the next day they came in and
Dairy
or
Queen.
Dunkin' Donuts or whatever,
Dairy Queen.
Baskin Robbins.
I think it was a
Dairy
Dairy
Queen.
Queen.
I mean, it couldn't be. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Come
It
on.
was
And then
closed down. Okay, just so let's
Yeah.
like make sure we cover this stuff because I've never covered any of it really. He
Okay.
went to a Dairy Queen after the shooting, or it was after the shooting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, after the
Yeah, or it
shooting,
was after the shooting. Yes.
and
Yep.
he had a meal there, and he's on camera. And that Dairy Queen, like George Webb, went there actually, and it was,
Yeah.
I think, and it's closed down. Basically, it got closed.
The next day they demolished it. The next day.
They had demolished it.
The next
actually.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually demolished it. They bulldozed it.
Right, and they did the
This-
same. They
this
did
is-
something similar with the crime scene, which
Yes.
is sketchy.
they did.
Like the crime scene was immediately like paved over. Is that right? Or
Yes, it was. Indeed, it was.
Yep.
Now, also, the 1998 movie Snake Eyes, Nicolas Cage. I'm sure you're familiar with that, right?
I'm not. I'm familiar with the conspiracy theory. I'm not familiar with the movie. If I wanted to repeat what it was, it's something like there's a character called Charles Kirk or something in the movie. That
Kirkland got shot in the neck. Tyler, the executioner. I mean, the parallels are bizarre. And that's not to say that this has been planned out for 25 years because Charlie Kirk was like 5 years old in 1998. Okay.
Right.
This ties more into the simulation theory.
Simulation theory.
Right.
I believe it's probably more likely than not that this is some kind of a simulation based on I believe that. So, pre-programming is such an interesting topic. A lot of people talk about September 23rd, I believe, and how it's appeared in so many movies, and they predict the end of the week.
That too. By the way, the date in that movie was September 10th that he was shot. So Nicolas Cage, Charles Kirkland, September 10th, shot in the neck. Right. I mean, it's over. It's over. Right. Also, Brigitte Macron is clearly a male. 1,000%. And there's a documentary in France, and half the French populace is all over that knowing. I mean, I didn't see it, but supposedly it's very compelling. And then if you watch Candace Owens' breakdown on becoming Brigitte, I mean, I'm not 100% certain about anything. Okay, even my own existence, if you want to get technical, but as certain as I can be that he is a dude, right? And that's a big deal. Well, that's a big deal.
Well, I'm as open to transvestigations as anyone. I think that if it's total, like there are certain things people say, like Candace says she's her brother, right? Or something like that.
I heard something about that. I'm not sure, but I do know that she was 40 years old when Macron was 14, right?
Well, apparently, yeah, it's already very strange. Like she was his teacher or something, right? Yeah, is that right? Exactly. She was his teacher when he was underage. Yeah. I lived in France for a while. They have very strange relationships in France. So that is a very strange thing. And then they accept like mistresses and all that stuff.
Exactly. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I'm just trying to, give Candace some credibility, because a lot of people, it's a minority, but it's still a lot, relatively speaking, are like, oh, Candace is crazy and she's, just, losing touch. She's not, if you step back, right. And if you realize that 30-06 was absolutely impossible lie, the Baskin Robbins thing, the crime scene, paved over, Macron being a man, and add to that Candace Owens' net worth before she even, started making all this money on YouTube was $200 million because her husband is loaded rich. So she's not in this for the money.
Yeah.
Right? So
I defend, and I think I made it clear that I don't believe she is either. And I think those accusations are actually like, I don't believe she is. Like, I don't believe she's doing it I don't believe she's doing it for clicks. I don't believe she's doing it for money. She did marry some rich guy. I was watching a clip from Nick where he ties a lot of stuff together, where like she's married to a guy who's tied into the Republican circle jerk involving like Peter Thiel and all these other characters. Like he's a sketchy character perhaps in some ways because he's part of that circle. So it is a little weird that she's married to this guy, but yeah, he's like aristocracy, right? In England or something.
Exactly. He was
Yeah.
also friends with Andrew Tate, so it does get a little bit, interesting.
Yeah.
But the point is that she's not doing this for the money.
No,
and a lot
I
of people
believe
say
that.
that she is.
Yeah, I would never
yeah.
in my opinion, in case I didn't make it clear, she is not intentionally lying for clicks or anything. That's my opinion. I don't think she's doing it for that. So the people who say that,
I don't
like
either. I think she just,
I don't believe that. So
I think she's passionate about the truth. And, I think, being that she was great friends with Charlie Kirk for all those years, obviously she's upset about that. But I don't blame her at all for, staying with this. And the fact that she's getting 150,000 people watching her live and she's getting, 2 million views within 24 hours consistently, it's not because she's some super charismatic, witty entertainer, although she does have skills. She's telling the truth. At least she believes she is, and she likely is. And for anybody to try to slam her like Tim Pool, or to accuse her of being in it for the money, or trying to act like she's being foolish, getting on top of this Bridget Macron thing, I'm just so perplexed by that, because why are some people, not most, just a small minority, but again, relatively speaking, it's a lot of people, they're defaulting to this, oh, she's a shill and she's this and she's that, when if you listen to what she's saying, right, and if you really just analytically evaluate what's being said, I don't have any distrust or reason to distrust her at all. And her now coming out and saying that she's concerned that the French government is, put a hit on her. There was a whistleblower. She played the guy. He was undercover, but he said it. And, I'd be scared too if I were her.
I'm sorry, she played the guy? You mean she actually she recorded the conversation and played some of it?
Yeah, well, on her show. Yeah, on her show. She had a segment where the guy's voice was cut out and all that. But
the voice was cut out. So what did she play? I'm curious what evidence.
I'm sorry, I apologize. It wasn't cut out. It was muffled. It was disguised. It was, whatever you call it.
Oh, it was a voice changer was put on it?
Yes. Exactly.
So she did play some of the phone calls she received, and you thought it sounded
she played
real?
Yeah, it was like a 3-minute clip. Now you can't verify that it was real, but it certainly could be. So I don't blame her for being concerned about it.
Okay. All right.
So that's
my opinion about that is that somebody did call her, but I don't know if it was real. Like, she still has to show some evidence or something, I would think. But it's interesting she played the phone call. I wasn't aware of that because I don't tune into her show every day. But my concern is that somebody was trolling her, and somebody with bad intentions was trolling her to try to get her to go to a story or spin out or have a breakdown or whatever. Okay, that's interesting that she played some of the calls. So okay, got that.
That's fair, by the way, because it could be a troll, and that's a good point. So and that's, I'm not adamant about that. That's, of all the things I've brought up, that's my least I guess example of something that I'm kind of passionate about. So that's I'm just trying to explain why I think she should be concerned. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing, it's entertaining to me. Mm-hmm. It's concerning. Good. All the world is a stage, but really, I'm going to bring it back around to that 1998 Nicolas Cage movie, because that's really the crux of this whole thing. Reality is just completely malleable. The Mandela effect. I'm sure you're familiar with the Mandela effect.
Yep.
The concept of Maya in Buddhism, and that's something that's not new. That goes back millennia, right? So if you look at the philosophy of Buddhism and how they address Maya versus simulation theory, a lot of parallels. It's just that we have language now to describe this crazy reality, and now we can compare it. Back in the day, it was compared to a movie projector, like A Course in Miracles, to talk about how reality is illusory, but they would compare it to a film. But now here we are in 2025. You have AI and computers. So
or
if
Socrates,
you go back,
like what is it? The allegory of the cave, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Shakespeare, all the world is stage, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating stuff. Yeah, it really is.
Well, good. I'm glad it's entertaining. I'm sure it is. I'm like, I tune into her shows sometimes, but it's not for me. Like, I can't get into it because she's too all over the place for me most of the time. Today's show, where she's talking about the conflict with TPUSA and stuff, I was listening to that. At least I was somewhat able to follow it. The stuff with like Egyptian planes in particular, I was like, what the hell is she talking about? Like, I don't even understand the Egyptian planes.
Yeah, I got lost on that myself. I'm not really, yeah. And you know, I'll tune in each episode for like 20 minutes. I don't listen to the whole 2-hour show, but I do watch other YouTubers that have highlights and discuss it and all that stuff. So,
all right, cool. Well, we're trying to attract those viewers. So, well, glad you're tuning in. Glad you like the show. Is there anything else we should talk about, or?
No, listen, I appreciate you opening up the phone lines.
Yep.
I love this show. And as I said at the beginning, I am overjoyed to have you back on YouTube. So
wonderful.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, you got it. Bye.
All right, dude. Take care. See, if only I could let YouTube's algorithm know how much people appreciate this show so we can get more people tuned in. Then we could take phone calls every night. We love taking phone calls, but this show, we're working on it. Did you see my special effects? I have some special effects with my new computer that I was playing around with, and I kind of laughed to myself, like this one. I was giving the thumbs up and stuff. I love technology. Okay. We love Lucifer. That's what we said, because Lucifer loved technology. That's what I made a show about at one point when I was insane. That's the other thing about mental illness. I have mental illness, and I've done shows while actively insane, including the show where I said I love Lucifer. But I do love technology, and apparently the angels that came from heaven also loved technology and shared it with humans, and that's why they were cast out. But I like those angels. Like, I don't have a problem with them. They also had evil giants, which like ate people, I believe. But actually, I relate to those cursed fallen angels, to be honest. Okay. Because I get to do stuff. I get to do stuff like this. I get to go and do this, etc. And I think that's worth it for being for worshiping Satan or Lucifer or whatever. Different from Satan. Speaking of Lucifer, speaking of Satan, we have money, the root of all evil, or the root of all good things, perhaps. Let me take a look at the chat for one moment. Insert name here says, Nathan, didn't you interview Fiona Barnett? Can you repost video if so? And I think you did. I did interview Fiona Barnett. I spoke with her on the phone. I had a phone call with her when Isaac Cappy was with her in Australia. If I'm famous for anything, it's for being the first person to interview Isaac Cappy, even before Alex Jones. That was my biggest live stream of all time. I did interview Fiona Barnett around that time, and I can't say what happened to that interview. The interview with Isaac Cappy was taken down by YouTube, so I don't think I can repost it without breaking rules. Fiona Barnett probably didn't say anything I can't repost. If I interviewed her, it would have been on this channel. I didn't see it in my channel history when I was going through and cleaning up my videos to try to get remonetized. I can search my external hard drive to see if the video exists. Perhaps. GTO888 says, can you post the video of you confessing what she did? I don't have that, I don't think. The gang stalking? I was a victim of gang stalking, which people confess to. It involved a satanic cult. Well, it was when I was covering a satanic cult, but I brought much of the abuse on myself, so I have to take accountability. I don't believe I have that video, but All Seeing You is a real person who exists and does live streams. She could talk about it herself. Oh, I have all the Discord chats. I was invited to the Discord where people met to strategize, attacking me and making me crazy, actually. Like, that really happened. So I am truly the survivor of gang stalking with evidence, unlike a lot of people. Like a lot of people imagine it and they're insane. Like somebody I had on my show once said he was being gang stalked and the whole city was against him and his family and stuff. And like later he was like, oh, I was crazy. Please take that interview down. I'm better now. It's like a fine line between insanity and like people like it when you're a little crazy. So I'll try to bring it back, but I'm just not as crazy anymore. Knock on wood. I'll try to bring back as much of that energy as I can because I know it attracts viewers when you're kind of a little bit crazy, a little bit drama, a little insanity. All right. Anyway, we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about the economy. Someone said as long as I talk about the economy, they'll still be happy. Okay, so here's the news. We're changing gears. As far as the economy goes, my mind, I ever since I started, I got into conspiracy theories because I was into the economy. I was reading Zero Hedge, which basically like talks about economic collapse all the time. And ever since I started, I said to invest in silver and gold. I said, get ready for a collapse. I said, invest in Bitcoin, things that went up a lot. Silver went up a lot. Bitcoin went up a lot. Other things I talked about went up a lot. They're all due to the idea that money is printed endlessly and we're like suffering due to inflation and stuff. And we hate the Fed and we like Ron Paul. We like Austrian economics. According to Austrian economics, I think, there are debt cycles, especially since the introduction of the Federal Reserve, which controls our money supply. There are debt cycles. We go through booms and busts, mostly due to credit cycles. We are either at the end of the biggest credit cycle ever, the longest bull market in history, or we're somewhere in the middle. But either way, according to what I believe are physical laws of the universe, it can't go forever. However, a lot of people on the internet these days, including people who are skeptical in many ways about the economy, think and are saying that it will last forever. The current bubble that stocks and Bitcoin will go up forever and you must buy them. Otherwise, you're going to be poor forever. Have fun staying poor is what you'll hear from people who buy Bitcoin and tell you to buy Bitcoin. I believe due to the I believe that eventually debt comes knocking. That's all. I just don't believe in an infinite credit cycle based on, like what I said, what I believe are physical laws of the universe. I believe eventually you're supposed to pay. Like you have to pay. If you want to put it simply, like what goes up must come down seems to be a real thing to me. And historically, eventually we get a recession or we get a depression sometimes, ever since the Federal Reserve, at least. But we had booms and busts before. We had tulip bubbles. We had stock market bubbles. We had the dot-com bubble. We had the real estate problem, 2008, the Great Recession, 2008. We had a little something during COVID, but that was very short-lived because we've learned through central bank engineering how to print money whenever necessary to stop a true recession or a true depression of the stock market or risk assets by printing money every time it happens, no more than the ridiculous amount of money we printed during COVID which created the inflation that happened during the Joe Biden administration, and which resulted in where we are now, where we have what they call a K-shaped economy, where rich people are getting richer because they own assets. And actually, they're mostly old, rich people and their corporations. So people who own assets have been doing very well. People who bought houses some time ago, like more than 5 years ago, mostly, who bought stocks almost anytime. They've been up a lot. People who own real estate and stocks are very comfortable. They're mostly old. And the rest of us are doing worse and worse and worse because we don't own anything yet. And the price of everything else has gone up faster than the price that wages have gone up. So most of us who don't own real estate or don't have big stock portfolios or who didn't buy Bitcoin in 2017 or something are poorer than ever. Maybe poorer than ever. Yeah. When you compare it to something like gold, or if you compare it to gold and how much money you can buy with an average salary, how many ounces of gold you can buy with an average salary, then we're actually doing worse today than the year 1900, when people were probably living in log cabins that they had to build themselves and everybody was a farmer and had to toil all day. Like they made $400 a year in 1900, the average income, which would buy you 20 ounces of gold. Today, the average income is $60,000 a year, which would buy you less than 15 ounces of gold. At the peak in like 1970, before we went off the gold standard, we actually did have an improved standard of living up until we went off the gold standard, where the average income would buy you like 1,000 ounces of gold or something before we went off the gold standard. Like 1970 was peak. Like the 60s to 1970, we were doing way better. One income, 2 cars, house, American dream, just based on the income you could make from a regular job like working at Walmart. You'd be able to support your family. You could be a greeter at Walmart, the equivalent, in 1970, and you'd be able to support a family. Now, in big cities, you have to make $250,000 a year minimum just to be able to afford a home at a reasonable ratio. $250,000 is the new, like, struggling to make it in coastal cities today. And in many other places, it's about $100,000 to $140,000, especially if you have children. Which the average household income is like 80. So the average American is actually poor if they measured it right today. They're actually in poverty, basically. They can't afford basic things that you need to participate in society. Healthcare, childcare, house, car, phone, the technology that's required, etc. You can't afford it if you make the average. So the average American actually lives in poverty today, if you measured it properly, because of central banks, basically. If you want to say, like people would say the Jews, but it's really the bankers and the government, pretty much, or like fake government institutions like the Fed, private banks. If anything, I would love to short the banks because I think they'll actually, without bailouts, they would probably die again. Anyway, we are going into a future where this is like we're running headlong. I talk about AI all the time. Hold on, let me show my full screen. I talk about AI all the time because we're creating a technology which massively improves. Oh, somebody's calling me? That's Jim from Baltimore. I'll have to save that. Let me just tell him. Hey, Jim. Good. Nobody can hear you. Can I take your call at the end of the show? Because I'm on a roll. Okay, thanks. All right, I'll close that window for now. And like I said, I'm on a roll. So we are creating a technology which massively improves efficiency, should be massively deflationary, as in the cost of goods and services should go down to nearly zero for almost everything except for like energy, food. Oh, that's what it does. Wow, I didn't even have to activate it that time. I wonder how I do the gestures that create the things. I wonder if I went like that if something happens. So I give a thumbs up and it gives a thumbs up. Look at that. Wonderful technology. AI, basically. So this is what AI does. Does things that are kind of stupid with no value, like give a thumbs up when I give a thumbs up. But some things that are incredibly valuable and things that would have cost a lot more money. A lot of the things I used to do my show previously were impossible before the advent of AI, like making shorts from my show, which would have taken a ton of time. If I wanted it done, I would have had to pay somebody $500, $1,000 a month to make shorts. Instead, it's probably going to be $150 a month or something using the technology I use. So things, services, goods, due to AI should go down in price. Well, the only problem is that's great until you have no consumers left. And AI is being designed to replace humans, basically, intentionally, which is good because, I mean, it's good. It's an efficiency. It'll make things cheaper. But because of financial engineering and the fact that we won't allow deflation, things are still going to remain expensive, probably. Real estate, food, energy, water, resources, etc. And we're all going to be unemployed. According to pretty much every AI CEO, everybody who's building the technology is creating technology that replaces humans. So, and probably, like, I believe it already started this year, but starting next year, it's going to get really serious. And by the year 2030, I mean, it's probably going to be all over, but even maybe by the year 2027. But I think maybe by next year, the technology is advancing at an incredibly rapid rate, which people can't even wrap their heads around. They think it's going to take a while before the robots replace us, but people don't understand exponential growth and the pace at which the technology is advancing. So I'm going to show you that with the advance of robots over the last 10 years. I'll show you a few videos of that. And I've been following the advance of the intelligence. There's never been a time in human history when we've created intelligence that can replace humans. Every other technology that's come before artificial intelligence did not create job losses. So the people that say that it's not going to replace jobs, or like, don't worry, we're not all going to be unemployed, it'll create new jobs. That's the truth. That's happened with every technology in the past. Is it didn't take away jobs permanently. There were new jobs created. This is a brand new technology which replaces intelligence, which was a uniquely human trait until now. So I believe Elon Musk. I just believe Elon Musk is that we won't have to work. But I don't think that's good. That's all. I think it's, in fact, incredibly frightening. Because in mouse experiments, who are not much different from us, the mice end up eating each other, not having babies, and all going extinct. And white people and Asians are at the tip of the spear right now, headed toward extinction right now, already. It's already happening. We are not having babies at a rate, and it's not getting better anywhere. Asians and white people are going to go extinct. In the case of like South Korea, it might happen really soon. And to the extent that Brown people who reproduce more are going to start doing the same things as us. As soon as they become sufficiently advanced, they'll go extinct too. Probably. So we're basically headed toward extinction. So that's my theory, which probably isn't good for stocks. Basically, like Amazon is going to have robots and UPS will have robots that deliver all our packages, but there won't be any humans left doing jobs to buy things anymore. Like they're increasing efficiency, they're increasing profits. Corporations are buying things from each other. Corporations will order Elon Musk's robots to replace UPS drivers, the postal service, DoorDash drivers, Uber, like all these kind of regular jobs. And then there won't be anyone left to buy things or pay for the technology. There will just be corporations, which won't need people anymore and are firing people very fast. So, okay. So that's the introduction. Here's the news. ADP payrolls came out today. So they expected that we would gain 40,000 jobs in November, and we didn't. So I'll just play that.
Hey, Joe. A big miss on the ADP payrolls. The private payroll company saying private payroll shed 32,000 workers in November. That's the fourth negative number in the past 6 months for this series. Take a look here. The estimate was for 40,000, so the street was off on this one. And how did you get there? Well, goods producing shed 19,000 workers, service producing shedding 13,000 workers. But the big story here, and I'll show you more detail on this, is what's happening with small business, down 120,000. Medium and large business doing okay, up 51 and 39,000 respectively. But take a look at this chart here. Virtually all of the job losses have come from small business, which has been negative in 6 of 7 months since April. Without those losses, ADP numbers would actually be positive, but you can't get rid of it. You can't exclude small business. And then you look at it by sector. Well, we've seen those two sectors do.
Okay. Jobs that will exist for some time, taking care of old people, health, education, educating immigrants, because there's no white people left, who still have babies, who we still import and have babies. So education, we'll still use teachers for a while, although the AI is probably a better teacher. Leisure and hospitality, yeah, you need somebody at the hotel desk. People don't like a virtual clerk. People still want a waiter, a bartender, etc. Those jobs are up. Other jobs like manufacturing is going to be replaced by robots. China is doing it way faster than us. It's just a matter of time. Information, even worse. Robots are way better, or just the thinking computers. And professional and business services also just replaced by computers that can do the same thing as humans, except better and for nothing. So it makes sense.
Education, health services, leisure, hospitality leading the way, but manufacturing down, information down, and professional business services down by 26,000. Also, another sign of weakness in the job market. Job stayers, their wages up 4.4. That's down a tenth from the prior month. And job changers, that was a big number, or had been. That's down 0.4 of a point to 6.3%. So, Joe, at least according to ADP, additional weakness in the job market, and small business getting hammered. And there is some information that some of this may be coming from being hammered by the tariffs.
Tariffs. Yeah, tariffs. The tariffs are finally going to catch up, they say. Costco is suing the government to get their tariffs back. But actually, tariffs are maybe going to get struck down by the Supreme Court. So that, like, if anything's a wild card, is that tariffs might be struck down and they might have to refund all the money, in which case we don't get our stimmy check from the tariffs. And Donald Trump will be very upset. But Walmart says tariff, like price raises, actually haven't happened yet, but they will start like in January or next year. We're going to actually start having prices raised, and prices already went up, probably due to tariffs. So tariffs might go away, and that actually might make things cheaper. But the unemployment is going to be a big problem. So let me show you. Actually, let me show you some of the financial news headlines. Black Friday data, which everybody says was so great. Well, there was a 9.1% increase in spending, but people actually bought less stuff, indicating that actually inflation is way worse than they say it is. Even worse than that, 95% of Black Friday purchases were financed. 95% of Black Friday purchases were financed. 1 billion of it was buy now, pay later loans, which are apparently the worst kind of financing because people don't pay them off and they have the highest interest eventually if you don't pay them off in time. And 67% of the people that used financing, like put it on their credit card, don't intend to pay it off within 30 days, which apparently is way, way higher than usual. So debt eventually contracts. Eventually, you're supposed to pay. You either have to default, in which case the banks get screwed, or you have to pay, in which case you can't buy anything else because you have to pay off your debt. I sold silver to pay off my debt, which even the guy at the store was like, oh, yeah, you got to do that because it's like whatever, 30% interest or whatever my credit card is. But silver actually went up a lot faster. So I would have been better off holding on to it, but we can't always look in the rearview mirror. We are sad about not having silver. So that's news on Black Friday, which everybody says is great. Rejection rates for all types of credit, auto loan, credit card limit increase, mortgage refinance over the past 12 months rose to an all-time high of almost 25% per Charles Schwab. So people are applying for credit and are not receiving credit. So the economy contracts when credit contracts in the kind of system we have, which is just based on debt increasing all the time. I witnessed it because I was in the car business 2008 during the great financial, what was it called? The GFC, Great Financial Crisis or something like that. Everybody it was impossible to get a loan. So right now, or up until now, it's been very easy to get credit and everybody has a lot of credit. We have the record amount of debt and credit cards, real estate, college loans, the government, everybody, all-time record high amount of debt, which is why the price of things has gone up. When credit begins to contract, then you get a correction. So if people are not being approved all of a sudden for credits, an all-time high, that's a sign that we're about to head toward a contraction. Here's just some more unusual whales headlines. Indeed has reported a sharp decline in tech. I'm showing the right thing. Indeed has reported a sharp decline in tech job postings, especially in data and analytics. There are 40% fewer data and analytics job postings compared to before the pandemic boom. These are jobs that paid really well, which are disappearing because of artificial intelligence, mostly. Newsweek says millions of Americans are defaulting on loans. As far as the housing market goes, October saw an estimated 36.8% more home sellers than buyers, biggest gap in records dating back to 2013 per Redfin. So there are many signs of weakness in the real estate market already. Prices in real estate have not gone up over the last year on average, and there are many cities where it's been going down. Home delistings have increased 28% in the U.S. as, quote, sellers pull homes off market rather than settle for low prices, unquote, per Redfin. Okay, so people say we need more affordable housing. Well, the price of houses has to come down, which it looks like it is already. And there are many signs that there are cracks in the housing market. So those are some economic signals. Now, how are we going to fix it? What are they proposing for people? Well, they're telling people that if they invest in the stock market, then they're going to be okay. And actually, that's the only way you're going to be okay, is if you invest in the stock market. Oh, let me put my number down. Maybe that's why Jim called. Hide. Okay, that's better. So what are they doing? The Republicans and Donald Trump, they're giving babies savings accounts so they can invest in the stock market so that they'll have money, because it's the only way they'll have money. Basically, that's the cure. The cure is to give babies money to invest in the stock market. So I'll give you those stories. Donald Trump suggested Trump savings accounts for children, where every American child born starting January 1st of next year will get $1,000 from taxpayers. So we'll all pay for every baby $1,000 that must be invested in basically the S&P 500. It has to be invested in an index fund tracking stocks. That's the requirement. Now it's been expanded. Besides the $1,000 a newborn will get, parents can add up to $5,000 per child annually. And then I guess once you grow up and get a job, employers can contribute up to $2,500 pre-tax. This post from the Patriot Oasis says this is so cool. Okay. So this is it's being pumped hard, like it's the solution to everything. Tax-free until it's withdrawn after you turn 18. You have to be a U.S. citizen, which just means you have to be born here. No income limit, social security number. So it can be given to children of illegal immigrants, H-1B visa holders, whatever. They don't have to be, their parents don't have to be citizens. You just have to be born here. And no income limit. Anybody gets it. $1,000 when you're born. Okay, here's the pitch.
This is how these accounts will work, and how others, as we've been saying, can get involved in them. The parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Mm-hmm. Employers can contribute up to $2,500. And this is just one point I want to make here that I know you would want us to highlight. This is pre-tax income. Okay,
the vehicle matters here.
So this lowers. You and your spouse make a certain amount of money. If you give your child $5,000, you take that out of your pre-tax income. So it lowers your taxable income and allows you to pass it on to your child.
You know what this is? It's not just good for the kid. Everybody who contributes to this is getting a benefit from it. And again, it's not we're making you do it. It's we're inviting you into prosperity. And that's going to be so much more motivating than any kind of tax requirement the government's going to put on you.
This is how these accounts.
It's an invitation to prosperity. Well, what is it? It just counts on the idea that the stock market always goes up, which is what everybody believes right now, because it hasn't gone down for so long. And every time it goes down, we print money and it goes up again. And COVID, everything should have crashed. It crashed for like 2 minutes. They printed so much money that the stock market went up. Did it go up as much as inflation? Not quite. 7% a year is what they say. You expect return. But I'm just imagining what's going to happen for real is like, especially people that think this is like when the stock market goes down 50%, which, like I said, I think it has to, if things are real. If we live in a reality, which is controlled by physical laws, then the stock market could correct like 50%. So it'll be funny to me when people contribute to these accounts and they go down and everybody gets mad at the government again. That'll be amusing to me. But maybe it'll go up forever. Here's a chart saying how great it is. But the stock market basically is a protection from inflation. That's about it. It only basically keeps up with how much things go up as far as like what you have to pay for things. And other things have gone up even more than the stock market, like the cost of education has gone up way faster than the stock market. The cost of healthcare has gone up faster than the stock market. The cost of housing, at least after COVID, went up faster than the stock market. So it doesn't even keep pace with inflation necessarily. Gold has gone up actually way more. But this is what they're selling us. Perpetual growth forever. Oops, hold on. This is what they're pitching, everybody. Prosperity for everyone.
Sense of where this goes from 0 to 2.25 million over the course of 60 years. That's a pretty nice nest egg for retirement if people continue to put into it.
It would be a nice nest egg in 2025 if you had 2.2 million, although if you take it out when you retire at 65 and live to be 120, which we probably will in 60 years, it's probably going to be worth, compared to today's money, I don't know, could be 1/10 of that. It might be like having $200,000 with today's money, which would get you by for a year or two. If you have a family, most places. So it looks nice, but in 60 years, is 2.2 million going to be a lot of money? Like, can you retire with 2.2 million now? I don't think so. I don't think you can retire with only 2.2 million. So it looks great. That's if you put in the maximum every year. $1,000 at birth, $5,000 from your family, $2,500 from your job, and you work until you're 60. You'll have 2.2 million, which I suggest won't be worth it. The paper it's printed on in 60 years, 2085. We'll all be dead anyway. Who cares? We'll all be dead. So anyway, that's what they're pitching. Michael and Susan Dell are contributing to this fund with $6.96 billion to give people $250, children $250 each, probably to buy favor with the Trump administration. They think it's a great idea too. $250 each to put into stocks.
This is really exciting.
Absolutely. It's a very special moment. We're making a $6.25 billion investment in America's kids through our charitable funds.
Next year, every American child will be able to get an investment account powered by Invest America.
We've seen what happens when a child gets even a small financial head start. Their world expands.
The real power of these accounts is that anyone can contribute. Parents, relatives, friends, everyone can help shape a child's future.
To philanthropists, companies, community leaders, if you want to be part of something truly meaningful for our kids, for our communities, for our country, join us.
And to parents and caregivers, stay tuned and get ready to activate your child's account. Every contribution can grow over the years, just like your child.
Together, we can make possibility something every child can count on.
And that's a future worth investing in.
Great. So they'll give children money, which will invest in the stock market, which will invest in Dell, which is trying to make a deal with the U.S. government right now, probably for chips and stuff. I don't know. Pyro Justin says, does she look off? What doesn't she look? She looks like she might be an advanced robot, like a not that advanced robot. But $250. That's what $6 billion will get you. $250. to invest in stocks. Okay. So lots of ways we're trying to inflate the stock market. Okay. We're still on this topic. I think I'm going to have to cover a lot of news tomorrow because I don't want to run over 2 hours. But I'm going to show you one more clip of what I'm seeing as the common sentiment today. I read an article on Zero Hedge where this guy said this is the nothing matters market. It's someone who believes generally that the bubble's going to pop, but who says now that nothing matters. We're going to lower interest rates and print money, and the bull market may last another year or more. I read that article today. I want to know what to do. I sold almost everything because I might need the money in the future. And I think everything might crash and then I'll buy stuff. So I'm wondering which way the economy is going to go, because when stuff goes up, especially Bitcoin, it actually makes me concerned right now because I sold a bunch of Bitcoin, concerned that it's going to go down a lot. And I want to buy Bitcoin in the future, probably, although I kind of like gold better now. But I'm kind of waiting for things to break so I can buy things cheaper, if anything, because actually I might need the money, because actually I don't make it, like you guys know, I don't make much money live streaming. So that's my concern and my strategy. This is what Jack Mahler said. He's a Bitcoin guy. This is kind of like a common sentiment right now. And for people who don't know about investing, a lot of times you make the most money betting against the herd. And the herd, as far as I can tell, believes that things are going to go up to infinity forever. Like this. This is just a classic example of it that I can play for you.
Buy every dip. The United States cannot afford to have assets go down over a persistent time frame. The U.S. stock market is a Ponzi retirement account for the United States. They need it to both store wealth for Americans and for Americans to monetize wealth where they earn tax receipts. If the U.S. doesn't have a stock market that's up 10 to 15% a year, it is insolvent because it cannot afford the interest payments on its debt. So all dips should be bought. None of these dips scream Bitcoin's going to 10K. None of these dips are talking about cats. I'm allergic to cats. Literally, I am. You learn something new about me every single week. I am physically allergic to cats. I can't be around cats. So I know nothing about a dead cat and bouncing. I know nothing about it. This is all to do with global liquidity. The point is, we're in the middle of a liquidity crunch. Again, that's kind of been my consistent theme, is that today QT ended. So first of all, for all of you, QT ended today. Quantitative easing, QE, is very likely to resume in the near term. We're very likely to get rate cuts going forward. Trump, he said and communicated, I know exactly who I want as my Fed chair.
I know who I'm going to pick. Yeah.
They're going to be allowed to use unlimited leverage for treasuries, create a lot of credit, create a lot of new money. We have 50-year mortgage. We have stimulus checks. We have midterms. I know I take a lot of shit for it. I think this cycle is 250K to $1 million.
There you go. I still have some Bitcoin. I didn't get rid of all of it. If it goes up to 250K or $1 million, even with what I have, that'll be good. But I don't know for sure if we can always print money forever. And actually, there is a problem with global liquidity because Japan is about to suck it back up. And even though we're going to cut interest rates, in Japan, where everybody has been getting all the money to buy all of our stuff, interest rates are rising incredibly fast. And people are about to have to liquidate to pay off their Japanese loans. So it's, we might have quantitative easing, but there's going to be quantitative tightening because of Japan. And Bitcoin is global. And it crashed the other day because of Japan. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. You don't have to agree with me or anything. I don't know. It's impossible to predict. Markets are impossible to predict. You can't really listen to anybody because I've certainly been wrong. I should have bought Google. I knew Google was a good company. I was into AI. I should have bought NVIDIA. Would have done even better than Bitcoin, to be honest. I made a lot of mistakes because I'm a doomer, basically. I thought real estate was going to crash a long time ago. I could have bought a house before the crash in LA. Could have bought a condo for something like $300,000. Probably worth 1.5 million now. So, Hiker Chick, you've been collecting silver? Good. Just keep holding on to it. I bought some silver ETF today. I collected silver for a long time too. Had a nice stack of it, but because I'm insane, I maxed out my credit cards and the piper came calling. So I had to sell some things, which I wish I hadn't had to. But I believe in it. Silver, gold. Gold feels safest to me. And I like that you can buy a cryptocurrency that's synthetic gold. All right, I'll open the phone for Jim to call in. I have lots more that I collected for today, but we have to wrap it up. So we'll let Jim call. Voice.google.com. Oh, that's weird. Why did it sign me out? I was already signed in. 650 Gay Taxi. Jim, you know the number. Things are going good. New computer's good. Caesarity says XRP may 50x, especially if the equity market declines. No, that's the issue with cryptocurrency, is it's a risk asset. People think of it as a risk asset. That's the biggest problem I have with Bitcoin, is it should be like gold, which is, it's actually a safe asset, supposedly. It's limited, it's scarce, it absorbs, but people don't treat it that way. And it's certainly not XRP. So if you're counting on XRP going up with the stock market going down, XRP follows AI stocks probably pretty closely. So if you're concerned about the stock market going down, I wouldn't be certain that XRP is going to go up. XRP is considered pretty risky, along with every other cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is the safest. It goes down the least, but I got a call from somebody different than Jim. Cool. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Nathan?
Not much. Jim from Baltimore?
From cell phone.
Oh, different number. Okay.
Landline.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, landline's all fucked. Nothing much, man. I tried to call you earlier. I'm trying to remember exactly why I called, but I think it was when you were talking about the government and people in power and this and that.
Yes.
And I got to thinking that I think the biggest problem with westernized society is the fucking UN. And
the problem is the UN. Okay.
And all the NGOs, non-governmental organizations, I think that WF is included in that, WHO, the whole three-letter agencies, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, they soak up a lot of money that gets wasted. So yeah, that's definitely true. It not only gets wasted, it gets used on things that are bad for humanity. So I understand where you're coming from.
Exactly, dude. All it took was just like 2020 onward, and then you know, people should have known. A lot of people are probably still blind to the fact that it was all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to screw everyone and put needles in them and this and that.
Yep. Yep. We have problems with international organizations and stuff. For sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And would you consider them non-governmental organizations?
Who, the WN, or I'm sorry, the UN?
All of them, like just that want to get into the fucking U.S. and do something to it.
Well, there are a
Do
lot of
something
them,
with
and
it.
they are a problem. I think charity, anything that like is theoretically a charity, I am skeptical of.
Yeah.
Generally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're all a bunch of damn scam artists.
Yep, I believe that. Yes, all of them. I believe that.
I mean, I can't imagine there's anything legit out there these days. Anyway, so how long you been going for these days? Like streaming, like 3 hours?
I don't go 3 hours. I go 2 hours. I'm almost at 2 hours today. That's why I'm wrapping up the show and taking phone calls. Is I'm almost at 2 hours. That's probably a reasonable length.
That's all good. That's good to hear that you're back and you sound good, man.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. I was struggling a lot earlier this year. I had a lot of my mental health was very poor. I was very depressed and sad. Worse than that. And I didn't feel like doing my show. But now I feel like doing my show again, and that's good. And I'm not like in a bad way mentally most of the time. So I'm feeling much better. So I appreciate you.
Well, that's great. Did getting your channel back help a little bit?
Not really. Because actually I'm probably not getting any more traffic on this channel than I would have gotten on my other channel. I know how YouTube works. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you abandon a channel for a long time, then you don't just automatically get a bunch of views. So I'm on here because if I ever want to get a guest again or anything, it's probably better if I look like I have a lot of subscribers. And actually, like, people are pitching guests to me every single day. I get emails of people pitching guests.
Wow.
So that's different now that I have this channel back, even though I probably have fewer people tuned in on this channel than I did on my other channel. But
play simultaneously like it did that one time.
yeah, I can do it simultaneously. I can do it vertically. I get a few more people tuned in, but I'm trying to do the best show for everybody. And then I'm putting out YouTube shorts and just hoping something catches and just kind of grinding.
Yeah, man.
You know,
I could hear in people's voices that they're so glad that you're back. Like they hadn't seen you in like many years.
Yes.
Because they didn't even know live, I don't think.
I'm getting lots of positive feedback from people who missed me. So it's good. I get lots of positive feedback, just not any growth at all so far. Probably I got some of the most views on my first video back because people were surprised, but so far my traffic is not where it needs to be. So I'm working on it though.
Yeah, dude, I know the feeling. My channel, like music channel, it's pretty much like I used to get hundreds of thousands of views, and now it's like I'm lucky if I get 100, maybe 125, maybe 200 in about a month or 2 or 3. It's just like every video is just like, I don't know, maybe I've offended a lot of people, or maybe it is just the algorithms.
Yeah.
Or something, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for taking my call, man. It's good to hear from you.
Thanks, man. Good hearing from you, Jim. Glad you're doing okay.
All right, man. See you.
See you. Thanks, Kira. You like my Central Coast? Yeah, I asked Gemini to come up with a backdrop inspired by where I live, because I can actually see the ocean from one of the windows here. I think I can see the ocean almost. And then when I go to the street, you look right out at the ocean. So this is inspired by but it's not perfect. See, it's got glitches. I don't have if I had a green screen, it would be perfect, but you like it? That's good. I show my real background because it's not glitchy. I could get a green screen that attaches to my chair and stuff, but oh yeah, everybody give me a thumbs up. Everybody give me a thumbs up. That helps with the algorithm. And I'll check my coffees because I did get some, and actually somebody signed up. It's even better. They signed up as a member, which is great, at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, which is great. So let me show my coffees to give those people credit. And please buy t-shirts too at truthclothing.io. I showed you those. Kira bought a coffee, says, glad you're back, dude. Keep on keeping on. Hiker Chick became a monthly supporter. That's the best. Then I have you hooked for life. Says, appreciate you, brother. Thank you, sister, I assume, since Chick is in your name. August Bullock bought a coffee, says, thanks. So actually, we got 3 coffees today. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. If I get 3 coffees a show, that would be good. That would be enough. I'm not, I mean, that would be good. That would be a good start, but I can't beg. That's the problem. But people are buying some t-shirts, but we're going to run out eventually. Then I got to figure out what to do with the store. Thanks, Hiker Chick. You became a member, right? Thanks, Hiker Chick 18. You're the best. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Show you some special effects. Let's see we can show raining on me. Hearts. Oh, those are nice. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Balloons. Party. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Tomorrow's what? Thursday? I might, if the football game's going to be good, I might come on a little early. I might come on at 3 instead of 4 tomorrow. We'll see. All right. Thanks, peeps. Mike, you saw the interview with John McAfee. Good interview. We've had some good interviews. So hopefully we'll get some in the future. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. For now, that's what it is.